Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shake goes by.
Wake your fuck ass up. That crust out your eyes.
Give it up for Everlast.
Wow, yeah,
Salute.
man.
Yes, man.
I'm on hip hop radio, man.
You know the last time you done that?
It's been a minute, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was some mistakes on my sheet today. I was like, yo, that's Sway's my man, but that's a rap show. Why do they care?
Yeah.
And they were like, Sway wants to talk. Let's go.
You know, but here's the thing: it's not just we had Kate Hudson on yesterday.
There you go. You see, it's the whole media. Everything's kind of blending into one big whatever. But
yeah.
I'll be honest. I was in the studio all night till like 5:30. If it wasn't Sway,
yes,
it would have been like, yo, Everlast isn't feeling that well this morning. He's probably not gonna make it.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, no, I can't do
That's
it.
funny,
I'm scheduled. Sway, I gotta go.
we used to be neighbors, haven't
Yeah,
and
that's my point.
if he wouldn't have came, I would have found him. Like,
Yeah.
oh, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, because we both used to live in.
Yeah. Plus, I don't want to have to. I don't want you to threaten me by turning off the mics or anything, and then we gotta go talk outside or something. You know what I mean?
Now, I have a quick question. Question, Everlast. Sway and I were talking about neighbors this morning. What type of neighbor was Sway?
Well, we knew each other before. I mean, we knew each other and discovered we lived on the same block. So
Okay.
towards me, it was always cool, man. But I don't know how his neighbors felt. I didn't live right next door. I lived about half a block up.
Okay, all right.
But it was very quiet, very, very nice block.
Yeah, King Tech and I got.
I can't imagine anybody had any problems. They were quiet.
Yeah, we were quiet.
I was the one that was a problem up the block.
There was always police going up there. Man, let me ask you, how did you first connect with Ice? I want to walk you up through House of Pain and Whitey Ford and where you are now. But how did you meet Ice-T? I never knew that story. How did that come?
Actually, through Divine Styler. Wow. I was just a graffiti writer, man.
Artist Divine Styler.
Yeah.
To be signed with Quest Records, I believe.
He was signed with Ryan Syndicate, and then there you go.
There you go. Okay.
Saying nothing.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his curve, man. I mean, a lot of cats swagger jacked him, let's say. But he was an amazing graffiti writer. I was trying to write graffiti at the time, and I was just kind of like, back then to be somebody's son wasn't an insulting thing like it kind of is now. So I was kind of getting sunned by him in graffiti. Like, he was teaching me styles and stuff. And they were always into the music.
Uh-huh.
And I would make up raps while we were painting, for fun, just to make jokes and whatnot. And then one day they were in the studio, like, yo, you should just make a tape. It wasn't even about records or anything. They had a little Tascam 4-track and an 808 and the first that Mirage sampler. And anybody who's hip will know, it didn't loop. You had to hold the key down and shove one of them floppy disks to hold the key in there to keep the loop going. All right? And so we just would make demos like that. I mean, funny. And I made that syndication record. Because they were like, yo, this guy's doing something, do something for it, right? And I was like, okay, I'll try something. I wrote the first song I ever wrote, Ice-T heard and was like, oh, you want to make a record? I was 17. I was like, okay.
And the hits. And I remember
wasn't no money in it at the time, unless you were Run DMC, or that tour, like Houdini, Run DMC, Fat Boys, and LL. Those were the only guys making money, and otherwise it was all an independent hustle.
Now you were kind of. I saw some promo pictures back then. You had a suit on, right?
Oh man, I didn't know who I was back then. You know what I mean?
The slick hair back. I remember that, right?
Yeah.
And that go, a lot of artists to this day still don't know who they are, but then. And then came the House of Pain, right?
Yeah. Well, what happened was that whole thing. They threw up. It started as a single for this compilation for Ice. You know what I mean? He signed me to it, and then Warner Brothers took notice to my record got chosen as a single. They took notice. They gave me an album deal, and at the time it was very strange because I was the only. It was the only basically there was me and Search and the Beastie Boys, really. Yeah, and Kid Rock was around. Kid Rock was around. He had a record out on Jive.
Ice, do not front on Vanilla Ice. Was Vanilla Ice out at that time?
Not yet. No.
Not yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so it was Search?
No. But for the grace of God, go I. With this first record. Because it was I didn't know who I was, what I was doing. And I made half a straight kind of B-boy hard record. And then all these little, oh, this is what Tone Loc's doing. I did a record, I got the knack with a dun-dun-dun, a rock. Because Tone Loc had Wild Thing out. And
right.
You know what I mean? It's so there was half the record that I was listening to the label saying, hey, do one like this, do one like this. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm 17. You know what I mean? I don't know what. An album's not gonna. I'm not gonna get rich. I didn't even think I was gonna get rich off this. It was just an experience. I was in it for. I was gonna be an artist, a painter, and but I get signed to Warner Brothers now, and now I'm not on Rhyme Syndicate. I'm still part of that under that umbrella, but I'm part of Warner Black Music, And they didn't want anything to do with me. Like, it was like Prince and all kinds of guys like this.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a lady named Karen Jones. She was sweet. The only person there.
Jones.
Like, Benny Medina was in charge.
Benny Medina.
Remember those days?
Yep.
Like, I don't think I met him once the whole time. You know what I mean? And like, there was this lady, Karen Jones, who was like directly under him. And that was the only person I ever dealt with. And the only saving grace of that place was she was the only person who was like, I see you, baby. Yeah, you're okay. We're going to get you taken care of. So I made that record. They threw me all this money. Wearing suits because like, you want a $5,000 suit? Sure, I'll put a $5,000 suit on. You know what I mean?
And that's why you put the suit on.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Hold this.
Nobody
thought.
forced me. Don't get it twisted. I'm just
but-
saying. It's like I don't know what I'm trying to convey here as a message. You know, so let me I'll do that.
Everlast is here. We're gonna walk up the ladder of history to
Right.
get to where we are today.
I've seen some of it, man.
Yeah?
I've seen a good share of it, man.
There it is, and let's hear a little bit of it too. Here it is, Everlast, Sway in the Morning, Shade 45. The Everlast has joined us. Started off with the Rhyme Syndicate, signed a deal with Warner Brothers, and then you got with a group that just kind of revolutionized sound, man. It was
Well, we got to get to how that happened because
yeah. How did you get to House of
well,
Pain?
I started learning about the record business.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I went from like, I made this album and for just because it was an opportunity. So I make a record, sure. They wrote me checks. So, it wasn't, and back then, 17, you get a $25,000, $30,000 check, you lose your mind.
yeah.
1989, that's like $100,000 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went. I had sold at the time on that album like 125,000 copies, which was not.
That was
back
decent.
then it
That
wasn't anything. But like it was respectable to me. I was like 100,000, 25,000 people bought my record. So I did the math in my head of like they should owe me a little money.
Yeah.
And I went in to like find out and get about I found out they did all these remixes that they never used, and they paid all these dudes like this dude Shep Pettibone and a few others, paid them like 50, 60 G's to do these remixes, and I was like, and they never asked me, never played them for me, never told me, and they told me you're unrecouped to the tune of like a $250,000 still.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And I fucking lost my mind on Benny Medina and everybody in the building threatening to kill him. All this shit. I get escorted and thrown out of the Warner Brothers building. Right? It's basically over now. I tell Ice I got to get out. I just don't even want to do it. So I get out of this Ryan Syndicate deal. Somehow still have the urge to make music. I start making these demos with Everlast on it, and nobody will look at them.
Yeah.
Nobody. Like the
So you
word
feel like
is
you were
out.
blackballed?
The word was out that I like was threatened. I was young, and I dropped a lot of homophobic slurs, let's say, on some cats that probably weren't as well known about their lifestyles as they are now. You know what I mean? So like I got in a lot of trouble for that, and like Everlast was just like kind of like a don't even say that name around here.
Yeah.
So Danny Boy was a cat I went to high school with. Lethal was already DJing for me in the Ryan Syndicate era. He was only like 15.
Where did you go to high school? What city?
Taft.
Yeah. And so in the Valley.
Yeah.
In California.
Mr. Cube went there also.
Ice Cube went there. Were y'all there at the same
There was
time?
a bunch of people like the BBD guy, like brother, the Throwdown Twins, the BBD brothers. The guys that were brothers. Like a bunch of people like that went there.
Did y'all go to school at the same time, you and Cube? Yeah. Did y'all know each other in high school?
No, not knew each other. Knew I don't know if he knew of me, but we like everybody in school kind of knew of him because Boys in the Hood had come out, and like everybody kind of knew like he wrote that record, and like I think Dope Man dropped while we were that year, and it was like, oh man, it was over.
Yeah.
It was over. So there was that going on. It was that bubbling. It was that time. It was just hip hop was everywhere. It seemed like to me, And like I said, I was trying to be a graffiti writer, but I started making more demos, and then Danny had this collection of tapes. So he worked at Warehouse Records, and he had all these tapes, and I was looking at them because I would always snag a tape from him and copy it and whatnot. And then I saw one that was like looked like it was handmade. It said House of Pain. I was like, what the hell is that? And he was like, oh, it's an old punk band I tried to start. It's nothing, it's garbage. Don't even listen to it. I was like, that fucking name is hard. I like that, man. And from there, we just kind of started doing that. And it was a live band. Like I was like, I'm gonna do live music. And we thought we were on something. We were gonna do something cutting edge and new. And right at that same moment when we started doing our first demos, they did that first Unplugged with hip hop. And immediately after that, every rapper had a band.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, well, that kind of takes the specialness away from what we were doing. Then me and Muggs, I know this is long-winded, but I'm getting there.
No, get to it.
Me and Muggs were
DJ
like,
Muggs.
we were hitting chicks that were roommates. We both,
banging out roommates. Okay.
And me and Muggs knew each other because we were like the only two white guys doing it. Everybody's always trying to get him to be my DJ just because he was white, I was white. He's like, yo, you guys should work together. And I was like, yeah, we're cool, but he's got his thing, I got mine. We were hanging out. We went to one of those reggae fests at the Greek Theater, and I met B Real that day, and afterwards we all go back to this broad's apartment, and me and B Real start freestyling one night. And Muggs is like, "Yo, I'm gonna play you something," and he plays me the first Cypress album.
The first Cypress Hill album.
Yeah,
wow.
but this is like almost a year before anybody it ever came out.
Wow.
And my jaw dropped. Bang! I was like, "Oh my God, dude, it's a rap." I was like, "What is it?" So he goes on with B Real, and on the way home, B Real's like, "Yo, because we had been freestyling all day, smoking and whatnot." He's like, "You need to mess with that dude. You need to be doing something with him." And then, next day, Muggs calls me, and literally the first 2 records we did were that one with B Real, Put Your Head Out, and Jump Around.
Jump Around.
Then Muggs throws me the tape because he's going on tour with Naughty, and they're about to go by the time we had everything together, his record was about to come out. He's like, "Here, do what you want with it." And I remember you remember Paul Stewart?
Yeah, Paul
Stewart. I took it to DJP, and I was like, I have no idea who to send this to, man. We need to send this to everybody. And we sent it all out, and like within a week, there was like the bidding war over this demo.
Wow.
And it was crazy. It was like it was the craziest thing ever, man. Because like I swear to God, like Monica Lynch from Tommy Boy Records back in the day was before we got a call and an offer from them. It was like, "Yo, Monica Lynch is here from New York. Wants you to come sit down and talk to him." And the crazy thing was, we had bigger money offers from labels. Like remember that Monks record, the Charisma. They did the Monks, all the chanting with the beats behind it. They offered us a lot of money, like more than Tommy Boy.
Why y'all go to Tommy Boy? Because it was more of a they didn't understood the culture.
Because of African Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force, and we were like, that's the look. We were always about aesthetics and like Tommy, but just the logo alone, we were like.
Credibility.
The only thing that probably would have beat them out is like if Def Jam was trying to holler at us at the time.
We got Chad on the line from Texas. Good morning, Chad. How you doing?
Chad, is this the Chad?
I'm good, man. How are you, Sway?
I'm good, man. I got Everlast in the studio, man. Whitey Ford himself is here.
Hey, what's up, Whitey Ford, my man?
What's good, man?
Listen to your stuff every day, man.
Good looking, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, House of Pain was great, but I think your stuff now is probably your best stuff. It really speaks to the soul,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I just go where the music takes me, man. I still think I'm a b-boy and a hip hop artist, but even though I know what I do isn't traditionally it, I just kind of feel like, digging through records in hip hop. Basically, you dig through every genre of records, your whole life, and you're making stuff out of that. And I kind of feel like, so you're bringing all that music to hip hop. I'm kind of almost taking it back and putting a little hip hop in like a little country tune or a little, whatever it is I'm doing at the moment. So hip hop's always in my heart, and lyrically, it's no different to me. I mean? Still, I approach it the same way lyrically. But thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
So when you did Whitey Ford Sings the Blues and
that record started as when I quit House of Pain for many reasons. One of them, the primary one being, it was like I was just showing up for the check and I wasn't happy anymore. You know what I mean? And I'd come from that era where it was like, was selling out actually still existed and your soul actually still mattered a little bit. And I'm not shitting on anything that goes on right now. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm just saying it was like a different kind of feeling about approaching the art, licensing it to a commercial wasn't a way to break your single, you know what I mean? So I just kind of quit. I thought it was over. I was just like, quit House of Pain, and this was my second go around already in House of Pain because of and it was like, how many opportunities do people get? This was probably a wrap, and I'm sitting around and doing a certain amount of probably feeling bad for myself, drinking or smoking and whatnot. And one day, Dante Ross calls me out of nowhere.
Dante Ross, legendary music.
Anybody who doesn't know Dante Ross, check the resume. The dude's legendary.
Google
He's
him.
Signed so much and produced so much hip hop that you probably don't even understand. But he called me. He's a good friend of mine. I'd say he's a brother, man. Yeah. And he heard me. I was like down and whatnot, and I was just like, I don't know, I'm done, man. And he was like, nah, man. He's like, screw the record label, screw a record. Just come to New York. Come to New York. Sleep on my couch and we'll just start making music. So I started making. If you listen to Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, half that record's like straight. Yeah. It's hip hop, just beats and rhymes. And we were just making a hip hop record, but I had a guitar. And like after we'd do sessions, I'd sit around and I'd smoke something, I'd strum on the guitar. And basically what it's like is something I had just in the decks. Yeah. And I was playing it, and he was actually in the back of his apartment with a chick at the time. And I start playing it and singing it a little bit, and he comes running out. He's like, what the hell is that? And I was like, it's nothing. It's just some stupid little thing I do. He's like, no, we're recording that tomorrow. I was like, nah, get out of here. The next day, he would not let me not record it.
Let's hear that, man.
We've all seen the man at the liquor store begging for your change. The hair on his face is dirty, dreadlocked in for the main. He asked a man for what he could spare with shame in his eyes. Get a job, use
Man. Everlast is here.
Then you really might know what it's like.
Santana.
Yeah. Santana was next. The next thing. The craziest thing about that is, as soon as I finished recording Whitey Ford, you know, I was born with a heart defect.
Yeah.
And it kind of went bad on me, and I wound up in the hospital. They did like a heart valve replacement. In fact, I'm going to give y'all a treat I haven't done anybody in a while. You can hear this right now. This is my heart valve.
What are they, a pacemaker? Is that
No, it's a titanium ring. I tick like a watch. Like if you just sat here when we were quiet.
Put that mic on this. This is Everlast heart beating live on the radio.
It's just like a metal tick, you know what I mean?
So if you get electrocuted, it's a wrap?
I'm thinking if anybody gets electrocuted, it's kind of a wrap, dog.
Good point. So I remember when you had the heart condition and you had a heart attack.
Yeah. Well, no, what happened was the valve tore. And like, which basically means like the valve, like a valve opens up, your blood pumps out of your heart because the outgoing valve of your heart is actually on top. So it pumps the blood out, and then it closes so the blood doesn't fall back in. Well, that tore. So basically, my heart was pumping all this blood. It was falling back in. It was working like 10 times as hard to pump half as much blood. I basically just fell out from being tired. And the heart attack I had, when they were wheeling me into the hospital, was just from exhaustion. My heart finally, it was like my doctor explained it to me, like if you had a weight, even if it was like a 5-pound weight in your hand and you just started curling, it's like sooner or later your arm's just going to stop. It's going to give up. It's going to say, don't do it anymore. And that's what happened with my heart. Just luckily I was in Cedars-Sinai when that happened, or I'd be dead.
Yeah, damn.
And and then they found out, you know, they knew about my thing and they fixed my heart, which, you know, I mean, it's all crazy, like the circumstances. Like if one of the best surgeons in the world happened to be there and wouldn't, like there was another guy scheduled to do it and he said, you're not going to be able to do this. And he took over. A guy named Dr. William Trento, who's a saint and an angel. He like operated on my mom. I think he's one of these guys, like he saved my life, and it's like almost in a way like he looks at me like I'm a son or like a family member, you know? So like when my mom needed some surgery, I went to him because he's the best in the world. And like I was waiting for the bill.
Yeah.
And I never got one from him.
Wow.
Like, you know, I paid for the room and the anesthesiologist and all that. But like I was like, where's the surgeon bill? He's like, nah. He said, no.
Damn,
I was like, yeah. And he goes to like Argentina like 5 times a year and or South America and does like heart operations on kids for free. He's crazy. He's one of them guys. Well, this dude saves my life. And the record's like done, like coming out. And I swear 4 weeks after surgery, I had to hit the road. Because I honestly, my accountant ripped me. Like all this crazy shit happened at the same time. Like my accountant ripped me off for like $400,000. I didn't have medical insurance, and my bills were like $400,000. So I like went from having like $600,000 cash in the bank to like destitute.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to hit the road, man. And on the road, like the record, I remember when Whitey Ford, that album came out first week. I remember sales because everybody freaked out. It was 3,000 records.
Wow. 3,000
records, and everybody was like, Tommy Boy had been telling me the whole time, don't do this. Don't do that. You're a rapper, man. Don't do this. And we put it out, and then we were all like, man, were they right? And I toured it for like 6 months, and it was it became a top 10 album.
Yeah.
So I get booked on Saturday Night Live, and I'm about to do my performance Saturday Night Live, and my buddy comes in the building. He's got this look on his face. It's like, yo, Carlos Santana's here. He's looking for you. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Just go fuck yourself, man. Next thing I know, Carlos Santana comes walking in, and unbeknownst to me, right after that surgery, I wrote that song for him, which is all about death. It's all about my death. And somehow Dante sent it to him without my knowledge. You know, he just said he knew they were looking for. Yeah, me and him were worked heavy on the first couple albums of once I left House of Pain, and so like Santana shows up, and he basically, for lack of a better word, begs me for this song. He's like, I need this song on my album. I have to have this song, and I was just dumbfounded. You know, I'm about to go on Saturday Night Live.
The legendary
And Santana's here asking, like begging for my song. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Does life get any better than this?
Yeah.
And then so I recorded that and wound up winning the Grammy for that.
There it is, Everlast, man. Kevin, what would you like to say to Everlast? He's in Atlanta. Go ahead.
Yeah, Everlast was good, man.
How you doing?
Big fan of the catalog. Much respect for, setting a good example of longevity, since you came in the game up till now. So good to see you still doing your thing. You touched on something earlier about when you hit a point in your career where you was just getting a check, but you wasn't really happy with what you were doing.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to up-and-coming cats in the industry who may be at that same point?
Save money, first of all. And then, it's corny as it sounds, man. I just follow my heart, man. I follow where the music. I never intended for this to be my career. The music took me. I was just lucky enough to be able to recognize like the street signs and read the language and understand like the directions of where I'd be like, oh, maybe I should go and do this because that's what it feels like I should do. I just been true to what I do and not listen to people. Here's my thing: is you should have at least 2 cats in your crew that ain't scared to tell you you're whack. All right. And that something you're doing is whack. And if you got that, you can do anything you want because you got those cats you'll trust. Because most of the other cats are just gonna be like, oh yeah, that rocks. It's awesome. How many times you heard a record and like actually been like, yo, everybody in the studio actually co-signed this? Yeah. Like nobody told this dude? Yeah. Nobody said like, hey man, you might want to take another crack at that. You know what I mean? You need. That's why most recently I always had an outside producer because I felt like if you don't have somebody challenging you and your ideas during the course of making a record, you didn't make the best record you could. You made the best record you think you could.
There it is. You know what I mean? Kevin, thanks for your call. Tyler's in Texas. Good morning, Tyler. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Sway?
What's up, bro?
I get a little nervous being on the radio, but
hey man, hey listen, Tyler, you're a citizen.
Sway in the morning.
No need to be nervous. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was just going to tell Everlast, thank you for the album, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues. Because I used to just blare it in my bedroom all the time because I grew up with a abusive childhood. And we'd just go in my bedroom and after I get in fights with my stepdad and stuff when he was drinking, I just go to my room and like blare that.
Oh,
and it helped me out a lot.
You know what, man? Like that's the one thing that I'll hear here and there about a song I write and paper and money and fame and all that, that when you hear a person tell you like, yo, I was strung out, I was a junkie, and this one song of yours kind of got me through something, or my father died in this, or something like that. I came from that same type family. You know what I mean? My father was kind of, good man, but like, had his issues. Drank a lot. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Whatever it did, man, that's the universe giving that to you, man. You know what I mean? I just was an antenna, a conduit.
Yeah, there it is. Tracy, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're peeling back all these layers of history, and it had me curious. If you were 17 today in 2014, do you think you would be just as excited and inspired to get into the music industry?
That's a really good question. I don't know, man. It's hard to call that because I'm gonna be 45 in like 2.5 weeks. 3 weeks.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
Leo.
Happy birthday.
Leo in the house, dog.
Okay.
Come on,
Okay.
Topeka posse, dog.
There
What's
it
up?
is. He keeps giving up our street.
Yeah. They didn't know that, so you just said that.
I just say it, man.
I didn't say Avenue or Boulevard
okay,
or what I mean.
Okay, all right.
Could have been
just the exit.
Topeka, Kansas, man.
It's just
Come
the
on.
exit. It's not
There
the
you go.
street. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay, go ahead.
Snitching on yourself,
I know,
Sway.
right? Damn, I lost it.
But I don't even know what I was saying now. You got me.
But would you be
feeling
inspired
like
to do?
Oh yeah, because there's a certain amount of jaded, part of me that's I'm so exposed to all this business. If I didn't know anything like I did then, probably would be just as excited. But if I knew the ins and the outs, because it didn't start over money. You know what I mean? This became my career, and I saw the business kind of crumble, and a lot of us cats had to scramble and figure out how to keep it going. And for me, it was a little bit more of a challenge. I'm still garbage at social media and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Now, what's your Twitter and Instagram account?
OG Everlast on both of them.
OG Everlast.
I really only do the Instagram thing and connect it to all the rest of it. It's the only thing that interests me is taking pictures, and it's easy.
Yep. Mike is in Harlem. Mike, what's your question? Go ahead.
Yo, what's going on, Everlast? I gotta say, man, I've been a fan since for my whole life. And to see you form La Coka Nostra with Ill Bill and Slain has really been a highlight for me and for the career of yours that I've been following.
I'm very proud of that record. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, we missed you on the last album, so I want to know, are you coming out with another one with the boys?
I stepped away because it was unfair to the rest of the group. I have a daughter. She has cystic fibrosis. It changed life dramatically. I mean, I already have my regular career. La Coka Nostra started becoming really successful, and I was never home. And when I did get home, I put a certain amount of time on hold, and to work my records and then spend time with my family, and it just became to where I just got to the point where it was like I was making them wait too long, and I couldn't do it to them anymore. So I just kind of had to step down. Will we ever make records again? Those are my friends. Those are my brothers. I can't say for sure I'm gonna be on the next La Coka record, but could there be another one with me featured on it? I would like to think so, but as a whole, the idea of what it was in the beginning, I'm very proud of that record. I think it's an amazing album. I think there's a lot of stuff on there that people just, if you ain't heard it, go check it out, because it's House of Pain. Everybody that ever asked for a new House of Pain record, you got it right there with steroids. You know what I mean? That's what that record really was.
Landon in Oklahoma, you wanted to say something real quick? Go ahead.
What's up, man? I just wanted to say I'm a big fan. I heard you say you write graph. You still do that?
A little bit. I fancy myself. I run with some legendary cats like Risk and dudes like that, and they let me touch the can once in a while, and and then they'll clean up my mess. But yeah, I'm a huge art collector though. I have an insane art collection. I'm kind of OCD about it. I didn't get into crack or coke. It was sneakers and art.
There it is. Everlast is here, man. I want to thank you for coming by, man.
We got to do it again, man.
No, come back. We can do part 2, man. Now,
absolutely.
That was dope.
The last project you did is the Life Acoustic. Is that the last one you did?
Life Acoustic is like just like I took a bunch of songs of mine that I thought would get a better look. The way I write all my songwriting material is I'll be just sitting in a room by myself with my guitar and kind of just stripped it back to that. But it's mostly older songs and stuff. The last studio album was Songs of the Ungrateful Living. Yeah. But and I'm working on something right now. So
okay, and so I know there's no release time yet. When you say you're working, it's still in.
I'm gonna be dropping a song pretty soon. Like there's some things going on in the world that I don't really like when actors or musicians or anything come out and try and like tell you what political stance to have, but sometimes things are going on in the world, and the only thing I can do is write a song. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I got to do it, and there's a song coming out. It's pretty soon. So it's called Gaza City Blues, and it'll be done.
Gaza City Blues
in the next week or so.
We were talking about that this morning, man.
I'm probably just gonna release it like for free and just put it out because it's a beautiful song.
Everlast, thank you for coming by, man. This is my brother.
Man,
right
thank you
here,
for
man.
having me,
my
dog.
neighbor, man. I had to have you here, man, and. Make sure you check him out on social media, OG Everlast.
Yep.
I'm still loving you for like, yo, man, we could turn the mics off, dog, and we can finish this conversation outside. That's the Sway I know.
Everlast, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take your comments on.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.